Just managed to come down into pit lane and wanted to grab one of the 450 riders. Got Mr. Clifford here. Really tricky conditions out there, but you're having some fun this year. What's the tyre choice?
We're going to go with dries this time because the track dries nice and quickly around here, and we've got the sun out, but obviously it keeps raining, you know. There's
some pretty nasty black clouds hovering above us for most of the day. Do you mind which way it goes?
Well, personally, I like it dry, but, you know, when it's wet, it gives everyone a chance, so, you know.
And what have you made of the season so far? Enjoying the series?
Yeah, it's proper quality. It's good. Proper, really enjoying it. It's good learning curve, and it's quality, mate, yeah.
Well, thanks for talking to us. Well, that's one rider. He's going to go for dries, and with the sun out like it is, it sounds like it's probably a good choice. Robin, back over to you. We're ready for race 2.
Thanks very much, Steve. Yes, the Aprilia RRV 450 GPs come to the grid for their second race on this Sunday, and they're on pole position. The new championship leader, 100, Connor Tagg. Alongside him, 35, Jake Dixon. 29 is Phil Canessa, and 54, Sam Cox. Afternoon, Sam. On the second row, we've got Liam Shelcock, James Folkard, Tom Strettle and Blake Wools. And on the third row, Jamie Thackeray, Luke Thackeray, Jordan Holt, Michael Clifford, but it's watch the lights time, and away they go for their second race. Phil Canessa getting a good little start there, but it looks like Connor Tagg's going to hold the line into the first corner, Richies, and it's Connor that leads out from pole once again, Steve.
Yes, as they head into Ritchie's, Jake Dixon managed to get himself into second position, and then just getting ahead of Phil Canessa around the outside from the start there. James Folkard from the second row looks as though, well, it looks as though he's made his way back up ahead of Jake Dixon as well. So it's Tagg from Folkard, from Dixon, then Canessa, Blake Walls and Sam Cox.
Yes, another good old battle at the front. We've also got out there Ben Coyle, Matt Wildey, Asa Webb, Mark Laws, Reese Hutchinson. Reese, who I think is the youngest runner in this race, and he's moved up from Aprilia Super Teens, of course, and he's putting in some incredibly respectable performances. Again, one to watch. He's getting better every time we see him race. Mark Laws, very interesting, of course, the previously a European Super Mono champion, but enjoying himself out there on the 450s as well.
Yeah, well, he certainly knows these bikes because he was racing against them for the majority of last season in the Super Mono Championship, and he'll know one or two of the front runners, but at the moment, not quite able to keep up with these former Super Teen runners here on these machines. They are beautifully prepared, they handle very well. 118 kilograms is all they are, 62 brake horsepower at the rear wheel, and £9,000 plus the VAT will get you one of these on Bridgestone tyres ready to race.
Well, out there with a lot of competitors certainly ready to race. James Folkard would desperately love to pick a win. He came into this weekend as championship leader. At the moment, championship leader is now Connor Tagg, and there we see Phil Canessa in fourth place. Really, Steve, it's hard to think of anybody out there who deserves a podium finish more than young Phil.
Yes, well, throughout Aprilia Super Teens and into the 450s, he certainly does deserve to be on that top step. He's been involved in some manic scraps over the years, and certainly at his home circuit it would be lovely, and he's doing very well there just to hold on to James Folkard. But look at this at the front, Jake Dixon just up the inside into Agostini. So Dixon, the new race leader. Maybe we're going to see a different strategy here from the youngster from Dover.
Yes, indeed. Well, although you can see in the background sunlight on the trees there, you can see also that the rain is just sheeting down here. It's being blown by a fairly strong wind, and there we can see it against the trees. Really difficult conditions, Steve, because they're changeable. If it had been consistent rain all day long or consistently dry, fine. But it literally can be raining, sunny, and then raining again within the same race. So very difficult for these riders to pick. Really tough. The worst conditions that any rider will want, unless, of course, you're the likes of Jake Dixon, who can really take on anything. And Phil Canessa there has moved up into third position. One thing I'm quite surprised about at the front here in these changeable conditions is that Connor Tagg is matching Dixon lap by lap here at the front. Oh, and Dixon fancies to look up the inside into Murray's, and there we see a great overtaking manoeuvre by Dixon. Yeah, and he just let those wheels drift up on the curbs there, and as we've seen before, anything even approaching a white line or a curb when it's wet is something you need to stay away from. But Connor Tagg certainly had the drive out of Murray's and up the long straight, and it's him who just leans across into the lead on the approach into Riches there, and now running up towards Montreal. A real hairpin is Montreal. And there, look at this wonderful battle. Asa Webb just chasing through there into Riches.
Yeah, he just got the door closed on him there by Ben Coyle, and that's Reece Hutchinson just a little bit further up. But here we are at the front. Agostini's is awaiting the leaders, and it's going to be Jake Dixon still the leads from Connor Tagg. Then great gaggle here for third position, closing up. That's Phil Canessa ahead of Sam Cox now, who's got himself ahead of Folkard.
Yeah, Jamie Thackeray, you can see on the back of that group. There he is, running away from us down through this left kink more than a corner of Hamilton. And there's a great temptation. You tend to get sucked towards the outside of the corner there. We've seen a few people running across the grass on the exit of Hamilton's, but through Oggies, out to Williams, down the Bentley Straight. Now, once again, Connor Tagg taking over at the front with Jake Dixon just sat there riding shotgun, Steve.
Yeah, you just wonder whether the conditions now starting to dry, which would, of course, favour Connor Tagg. Jake Dixon will be hoping that it stays damp for a little while longer, but you can see here, the drier it gets, Connor Tagg is able to pull a bike length or two on him just as we make our way into Murray's once more.
Well, young Connor is, at the moment, looking set fair to having an absolutely startling weekend. As you mentioned earlier, third in the championship points coming into this weekend, and at the moment leading it. And if he can just nab another victory in this race, a perfect total for him as far as the entire event goes. There's Phil Canessa once again, and Sam Cox, another of the real front runners in this series. And there we can see Michael Clifford. Michael, who had a chat to you earlier on, Steve.
Yeah, Michael there just, well, he's got his wish now, I think, although the rain has had some say. We're on to the last lap. Sam Cox, as you mentioned earlier, we're going to see plenty of him as the season progresses. He seems to start his season around round 3 or 4, does Sam? But so I expect to see him a little later on. James Folkard, meanwhile, has got back into third position, but there's going to be no catching the race leader. Oh no, Folkard up to second now, past Jake Dixon. Is there any stopping Connor Tagg, though? He looks like he's away with this one.
Now, well, he's just popped in another fastest lap of the race, so Connor doing exactly the right thing at exactly the right time. Just as everyone else has a sniff of stuff, he puts in a really good time and just lengthens that gap between himself and the rest. Good scrap behind, though.
Yeah, there's some great battling going on. Of course, championship points. I mean, for third overall in the championship, there's about 7 or 8 riders going for it. So that'll be very interesting as we go through. But look at this, number 100, Connor Tagg, 16 years old, from Reading. And he looks so at one with that 450. It's his second season on it. Finished second in the Moto 450 championship last year. So he's used to the bike. But on a new circuit, he has looked completely in a world of his own.
Yep, an untroubled weekend for Connor Tagg. He's had 4 races. He's going to pick 4 wins from that as he sees the checker flag here at Snet. The number 1 magic finger in the air. And there, the double checker flags. Doesn't matter which way they look, they're always going to see him. And Connor Tagg takes that win. He'll be very satisfied with his afternoon's work there. So, Connor Tagg the win then from James Folkard. Jake Dixon was 3rd, Phil Canessa 4th, Sam Cox 5th. Then it was Blake Woods, Liam Shelcock, Luke Thackeray, Jordan Hole and Jamie Thackeray completing the top 10. Connor Tagg, winner in between James Folkard and Jake Dixon, the 1, 2, 3. And in the championship point standings, well, it's still very tight at the top. There we see just 12 points covering Connor Tagg, James Folkard and Jake Dixon, the 1, 2, 3. And then there's just 10 points covering the next 3, Sam Cox, Jamie Thackeray and Blake Woods.
Connor Tagg, winner of that race. You've capped off a fantastic weekend. You're championship leader in the 450. You're also championship leader in another Thundersport GB championship in the GP2. Can't really get any better than that.
Yeah, it's been an awesome weekend. That race, it started raining, so Jake went up the inside of me on the brakes, so I was just sat behind him for a bit, and it dried out, and I figured out it was dry enough to pull a lead, and I tried my best to pull a lead, and I did, so it's all right.
Well, it's certainly getting close in the championship. Usual thanks to PP Construction & Co.
Yeah, very big thanks to PP, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And Bridgestone, Ian and Myra, and my mum and dad, and Nitro.
All right, well done to you, Connor. Move on to second place man, James Folkard. It could have ended as a worse weekend. The championship's still very close, but I know you want to be on that top step again.
Yeah, you know, Connor was flying. You know, he's just can't stop him, sort of thing. It was wet in that race, and we worked it out sort of the same. But I was a bit of a tart at the start. I just left. You know, I just dropped off. You know, so it was too much of a gap for me to claw back. Like, so it's been unfortunate, but. Well, there's always more rounds.
And sponsors to thank and personnel?
Yeah, well, obviously Minars Pablo, a massive support with them. Almax Motorcycles, they're giving us tyres. Blue Flame Exhaust, new end can, and big thanks to Dave, Les as well, putting it all together, Charlie and Cian as well for helping us out there as well. Cheers, thanks a lot.
Well done to you, James. And finally we move on to Jake Dixon. We always know when Jake's not had a winning weekend, because you look a bit fed up, Jake. Not the most ideal weekend for you, but you know, today you've got 2 podiums, you're still well in the hunt there.
Yeah, not the best weekend, not really, I don't really suit to this track. Bike, we've had a problem with bike setup, but still come away with a few, like some points, so yeah, I'm happy with that.
That's it for GP Racing Dream. The next step from myself, Robin Murphy, and from Steve Day, will be with you next time after Pembrey.